Hey guys, it's CarGuy11. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to another live stream. Tonight we're going to talk about Chicago Auto Show that just happened Thursday and Friday of this week. Not a ton of news, but before we get started, definitely chime in if you're joining us. And I see Tom Gear's on. CarGuy11's on, and Import Domestic. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us. And just want to remind everybody, I've been switching stuff around a little bit, so definitely turn on the notification bell on the subscribe page on YouTube, because I've been switching around a little bit, and hopefully you guys are still catching these. But if you're not, you can always watch on replay, and they're also available on podcast on iTunes. So definitely check that out. Yeah, Import Domestic, aka Martin. How you doing, Martin? Hope things are going well for you out there. But yeah, so Chicago Auto Show. I didn't go this year. I've gone the last 2 years, but since I was at Detroit this year, didn't make it to Chicago. But you know, it is a fun show to go out there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of large reveals there, but it's more of a trim show, a lot of truck stuff. But there's always some interesting thing, and you really got to look between the lines sometimes at these auto shows where you'll find some interesting things. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And you guys could definitely bring up any other topics you want. And if you want me to cover ones that I'm not talking about, definitely chime in on those. But the first one I do want to talk about is, and we're going to start with trucks, surprisingly, but there's some interesting things with trucks. So let's get started with the 2020 refresh of the Super Duty Ford pickups. And this one is it's not too earth-shattering here as far as the refresh goes itself. You know, some restyling up front, you know, some improved features and interior things like that. But the main thing that's interesting on this truck, and I'll bring up a picture of it here, is the new gasoline engine offering. And what's interesting is, first of all, it's a pretty large engine. It's 7.3 liter. And they went away from the overhead cam design. Ford hasn't made a cam and block design since, I think, the old 5-liter engine they had in the Mustangs, stuff like that. This one, cam and block, just a 16 valve, big old 7.3 liter V8. It's port fuel injected, nothing, no direct fuel injection even. So it's pretty interesting. Import Domestic says, sorry, I think Dodge still has the best interior. Yeah, I agree with you there, Martin. I agree, yeah. And Dodge did come out with their heavy duties and their 5500 even at Chicago. So Detroit, they had their heavy duties, and then Chicago had their super heavy duties, I guess you want to call them. Tom Gear says the engine will sound glorious. Yeah, let's hope, because this really replaces the V10 they had, the gasoline V10 that was in all of their large trucks and cargo vans, stuff like that. They did not announce power numbers, but they are still offering the 6.2 liter V8, which is currently in these trucks. And that 6.2 liter V8 is 411 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. So this has to be greater than that, and it should be significantly more than that. If I had to guess, probably 460, 480, somewhere around there. And then the torque is going to be probably around there as well, 460, maybe even higher. Couple things we can glean from this information. Will they use this engine in another vehicle? They could absolutely use it in their SUVs. They can use it in F-150 itself. And we all know that the Raptor is missing that V8 engine right now with the EcoBoost. So will this go in there to please those that want the V8? I know Tom Gear wants that. I know there's a lot that are interested in that. But let's think about this. The EcoBoost makes 450 horsepower and I think over 500 pound-feet of torque. So in order for it to be offered in there, it would have to be over that. I think they can get over that with the horsepower. The torque may be pushing it over 500 with the non-forced induction. So, you know, we'll have to see. The other thing is, I'm sure this is not going to be super fuel efficient. They did not say anything about the cylinder deactivation or anything. So I'm not sure, you know, how fuel efficient this will be. They did say they are going to pair it with the 10-speed auto, though. So that's a little glimmer of hope for fuel economy, but still, with that big of an engine, probably going to be tough. Tough to put it in anything other than the heavy-duty trucks, because the heavy-duty trucks, they really don't penalize for fuel economy. Import Domestic says FCA is definitely stepping up their game. Hopefully they can create more reliable transmission. Yes, agreed with that. Agreed. Tom Gear says he'll be purchasing it if and when the Raptor gets it. And the Super Duty 10-speed. Yep, the Super Duty will have the 10-speed. So, but yeah, that's still going to be tough, I think, to meet any kind of fuel economy in like an SUV or like a lighter duty pickup. They are still offering a 6.2 liter though. So why wouldn't they just put the 6.2 back in if they were going to put the 7.3 in? That's my thing. So I'm not really counting on it. Tom, sorry to say. I feel like, yeah, if they would have left the 6.2 in the Raptor if they wanted to, and they didn't. So their 6.2 and 7.3 gas is only in the heavy duty pickup right now. Another one I'd love to see the V8 in is the new Bronco that we haven't seen yet, and haven't really heard much information on, unfortunately. But I don't expect it in that either. Tom Gear says he bets it'll do 20 on the highway. Maybe if you're really light with it, and if it's very torque, you know, it's going to be a torque monster. It has to be down low. I think that's why they went to the Cam block, to be more GM-like, which is funny because it's all the Ford guys always made fun of GM for old school pushrod cam block engines, and now Ford has the pushrod engine, and then GM is coming in with the door cams, and this I'm talking more about the Corvette here with the the Blackwing V8 engine we were talking about with the dual overhead cam 32 valve twin turbo. So it's kind of funny how that just swapped real quick. But pushrod engines do make sense. They do get great fuel economy because you don't have to rev them. So maybe that is a fuel economy play with the 7.3. Won't have to be revving as high. The 6.2 is the single overhead cam design still, 3 valve. So yeah, maybe it'll do better than the 6.2. I don't know. Import Domestic says the 6.2 had a lot of valve train issues. Okay, I didn't really hear that, but okay, take your word on that. And Tom Gear says, yeah, it would be great in the Bronco as well, but it won't ever happen. Right. Another one that they said it will fit in is the Mustang, but that one I don't believe. I can't see that big of an engine, that heavy of an engine, because it is cast iron as well. It's a cast iron block, aluminum heads. I cannot see it going in a Mustang, but they did say it would fit in there because they asked Ford representatives at Chicago Auto Show. So Zach's with us. Hi, Zach. Cam and block is also about a small packaging, right? Correct. And that is why it can fit in the Mustang. So yes, you're absolutely right about that. You don't have to fit all the cams on the overhead cam. So yeah, it's definitely easier to fit that in. He also says overhead cam vet engine wouldn't fit under hood. Yes, that is correct. The front engine, C7s, C6s, all of them. You're absolutely right. That is why the cam and block pushrod engines have been in there. Now with the mid-engine Corvette, I guess you have a little bit more room because you don't have to worry about that real low front hood. So Tom Gear says legendary Ford motor design with iron block aluminum heads. Yeah, true. But it's funny about the pushrod thing. Like I said, I can't remember a pushrod V8 from Ford since the 5.0 and the like 90s Mustangs. Zach says at one point I was thinking ATS-V turbo V6 might fit in a mid-engine for low end C8. I don't think they're gonna stick a V6 in there. At least at this point. At least at this point in the Corvette. Maybe in the future. They've talked about that, but I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna do it. But yeah, the Fox body Mustangs had that 5.0, the original 5.0 and pushrod, but that one had a lot of torque, but yeah, definitely didn't have too much horsepower. So, but anyway, yeah. So, what do you guys think of that? Definitely comment below too if you're watching this on playback. But yeah, the next one we might as well talk about Chevy now. So let's look at the Chevy HD, which was revealed in Chicago. And also a couple of weeks before, GMC also revealed their HD pickup. So what do you guys think, first of all, of the styling? I am not a fan of these HD pickups. I think the GMC does look better, but yeah, I don't really like it. But I'm not a pickup fan, so and I'm not buying a pickup, so I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of it, but I'm not sold on it. Tom Gear says awful design from Chevy lately, with the exception of the Blazer. Yeah, the Blazer is decent looking as far as you know, the sporty front end anyway. He says the new Camaro is awful. Well, actually, the Blazer is supposed to have the looks of a Camaro. So, Yeah, the 2019 Camaro, I agree. I'm not a fan of. They made the front end look worse. Um, but anyway, on the pickups, the heavy duty pickups, the interesting thing about the HD, again, there's a new gas engine. Now, they don't have a picture of it or anything, but what it is, it's a 6.6 liter version of LT1, basically. So they did announce the power numbers. It's going to be 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque. So this replaces the old 6-liter V8 they had in the heavy duties. This is 6.6 liter. It is cast iron, aluminum head. It's the cam and block, regular old school pushrod, based on the LT1 architecture. It is direct injection. They did not say if it had the cylinder cutoff, though. They did not announce that. Again, these HD pickups are not under the EPA rules, so I think they kind of skirt those in the HDs. They don't have the cylinder cutoff to get better fuel economy. Tom Gear says, the Blazer SS concept is awesome. I didn't see that, but I don't think they're going to do much with that, except maybe they would put a twin turbo V6 in it. Don't expect the V8. He says also, I love how all the trucks now spell out their brand on the grill like Ford originally did with the Raptor. Yeah, you're right about that for sure. Where is that? Yep, right there. Yep. And but anyway, yeah, back to this engine. It's made it to a 6-speed automatic, though, not the new 10-speed. The diesel is made it to the new 10-speed automatic, so it's kind of strange they didn't do that. CarGuy11 says Chevy all the way. I have always liked Chevy trucks, last forever. Yeah, but not a fan of the styling. I like the normal duty Chevys a lot better than these heavy duty ones. But anyway, back to the engine. I do have a couple comments. So we always think about having another large displacement V8, and like one that comes to mind in particular is the Chevy Camaro Z28. They never came out with that name. We thought the ZL1 1LE Camaro was going to be called Z28, but they said, no, we're not calling it Z28 because Z28 always had a naturally aspirated engine. And of course, the ZL1 has the supercharged 650 horsepower engine. So I'm kind of thinking it's a possibility they could have another high displacement engine in the Z28, and they could use the 6.6 liter. Now, this has a cast iron block. It wouldn't be cast iron. It'd have to be aluminum. And as you all know, the last Z28 had the 7-liter LS7 in the Z28. So could they make a version, aluminum version, and put it in the Z28 Camaro, and also could also find its way in a Corvette, although I'm more leaning toward Z28 for this engine if we see something like that. So Zach says, much distinction between GMC. I too am not a truck guy. The GMC, I can pull up a picture, does, excuse me, look a little better. It does. I'll find a picture. Tom Gear says he thinks it's for trucks and SUVs. Zach is asking, are prices that much higher for the GMC and Chevy? I'm not even sure they announced the pricing on the actual HDs, the new ones. So I think GMCs are typically just a little bit higher, but not too much. Tom Gear says, hopefully the Camaro gets a facelift again. Yeah, they were actually talking about that front grille making it body color. Or wait, what is it now? Is it body? No, they were going to move the bow tie from the bumper beam to back to the grille. They showed it at SEMA, so let me see here. And then Tom Gear also says Denali brand is high. Yeah, they do have a Denali version of the HD, and of course Chevy has a high crunchy version. Okay, I found the HD. Let me show you guys the HD. And it does look a little better, in my opinion, the front end. Let's see. This is the rear. There you go. That's a better picture. I think it looks a lot better. Way better, actually. So what do you guys think of that? Tom Gear says the last design was wonderful. That Z01 is gorgeous. Yeah, the Z01 did not change for 2019, so you can still get a Z01 and it still looks good. CarGuy11 says, I need to get a lot of power in my Camaro. What version is the fastest? Well, right now, the ZL1 is the fastest at 650 horsepower. Tom Gear says 1LE. The 1LE version of that is mainly, it's no more power, but it's track focused. So it has the huge rear wing, it has the larger tires, it has the front aero. So it's more road course track oriented. Zach says, after driving the C7, any Camaro is too heavy for me. True. Camaro is about 300 to 400 pounds heavier. Oh yeah, any reveals for Pittsburgh Auto Show? No, yeah, right. Tom Gear says no, nothing ever gets revealed in Pittsburgh. Yes, you're right. So the major one, the next major one, is going to be Geneva in Switzerland in March, and then followed by New York Auto Show in April. So we'll expect. Well, there could be a C8 show up in April. Let's hope, but that's that's a long shot in itself. So, but anyway, as far as the trucks go, yeah, there was that Ram heavy duty as well, but I wasn't really planning on talking about that one. There's a new Tacoma. Oh, not new Tacoma. It's a refreshed Tacoma, and again, that one, nothing too special, just couple styling tweaks. So I will talk about a couple of the cars that got revealed. The new Subaru Legacy got revealed, and this isn't too exciting, but it would be exciting if they offered a manual, because this is an all-wheel drive. And they're offering the turbo back in that car, which is 260 horsepower, which, if you remember the old ones, not recent ones, the old ones, probably the previous generation, had the turbo, and it was a Spec B Legacy. It was pretty cool car for its day. and it offered a manual. It was a fast, sporty car. They could do that still. Maybe this is just the first introduction, so maybe they're gonna come out with a sport trim or Spec B, something like that, with a manual. But right now, it's just a CVT. The other nice thing is actually the interior has this huge touchscreen, 11.6-inch touchscreen, which is pretty nice. Looks like the materials are going to be nice too. So I'm not saying it's exciting now, but kind of like how, if you remember, I talked about the Mazda 3. If they offer a Mazda Speed 3 with all-wheel drive, with a manual, that would be exciting. And same with this. I think if they offered a manual with a sporty trim, like they did with the Spec B, it would be an exciting car. And Zach says, old legacy GT with manual was sweet. Yeah, I agree. And it was a hot car in its day. I mean, it looked good and it was sporty. So again, something to maybe look forward to in the future. And we talked about Supra at Detroit. Just because they introduced it with the auto only doesn't mean there's not gonna be a future track version or sportier version with a manual. So I didn't lose hope on that car. I'm not losing hope on these cars. They're just the first introduction. They have to keep it fresh. So after model year 2, they introduce something new with it. So Zach says they should have retuned the 3.6 liter for 300 horsepower NA power. Yeah, that H6 in there never was a performer. It was always weak. It used a lot of fuel. It was never a great engine. So I don't know if they could have, but that was a large engine for only like 250 or less horsepower, something like that. It was never a strong engine. So I think turbo is the way to go with them, especially with the history with WRX and STI. And they certainly have a new STI coming very soon here in the next year or two. They could use the manual in that. So I think there's a decent possibility a manual could find its way in this car. Zach says Toyota 3.5 V6 does well. Yes, I mean other companies can make it powerful, a V6 of course, but for some reason Subaru has never been successful with that H6, and I don't know if it's heat. I don't know if that's just the design itself, but it's never been a powerful engine, and I'm not sure how reliable it is either. Yeah, so we'll see. The next car, a couple other comments. Import Domestic says, too bad GM won't make any more fun cars that are four-door like the Chevy SS. I agree. I think there's room for Cadillac to still have some fun four-doors. There's going to be the new CT5, I believe it's called, is that they're going to combine the CTS and the ATS and make it in between those sizes. And I believe that will be a fun four-door, and I'm sure they're going to have a V version with the V8 and probably the supercharged V8. So look for that soon. Zach says needs a glorious exhaust. I think he's referring to the Subaru, maybe. Martin says, as much as I love Cadillac, I wish they're they're out of the price range for most people. Yeah, they're very expensive Cadillacs right now, and I'm not sure why, because they're not selling well. So I think they have a lot of incentives on it, put it that way. So even though the sticker is high, I think you could get them for way less than sticker. Oh, Zach is referring to the H6 Subaru. I know I've been in one. I can't remember the exhaust. I can't remember how it sounded, if I liked it or not. I took one for a test ride. This was years ago, though. So Tom says won't be at SS price point and no V8. Yeah, won't be at the SS price point for sure. I think it will have a V8 though. I think the V version will have a V8. I bet it'll have that Blackwing V8, probably the 4.2 liter dual overhead cam twin turbo. It's 550 horsepower, and that's the one we talked about at Detroit. Zach, oh, Zach says like 911. I don't think it sounds like that, but I'd like to hear it. Actually, maybe I'm going to look up some YouTube videos on that. Tom says, what we all need is a 93 Toyota Previa mid-engine sports van. Yes. Yeah. You guys remember that? That was on the Cheap Car Challenge video. And interesting vehicle that is. But doesn't sound good. 4-cylinder. Okay, let me move to the next sedan. The next one is, it's the Jetta GLI, and basically it's the GTI, but in 4-door form. They did give it the independent suspension of the GTI. They gave it the same engine, 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It has a manual or the dual clutch. And it has the large brakes from the Golf R, which is nice. I think for a sporty, if you want or are interested in front wheel drive, I'm not, but for somebody that is, I think it's pretty nice. They didn't mention pricing, but it will be coming out soon here this spring. I don't know. I don't know if you like the sedan body style, but I guess if you wanted, I'm assuming there's more leg room in the back, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, I mean it's a decent car, I think, for somebody that wants front wheel drive. And you can get the manual, which is nice. But I think the GTI looks a little better in my opinion. Martin says a good competitor for the Infiniti Red Sport. Well, if you're talking about this car, the Infiniti's rear-wheel drive, so that's a benefit there, or all-wheel drive. This one is not available in all-wheel drive, unfortunately. I guess you have to step up to Audi for the all-wheel drive because this is based on the same platform as like the A3. So I mean, it's possible to get all-wheel drive. They're just not putting in here because the Audi, they want you to step up to Audi to get that. So that's that one. And then the last one I was going to talk about is an SUV. And the only reason I want to talk about this is because, again, we see these Jeep competitors. I talked about it on my one of my last videos about the Kia Telluride. They made it out to be an off-roader. They had an off-road course at the Detroit Auto Show. They had it souped up with huge tires and a lift kit and all that. And they don't even offer that as an available option. at least Toyota here has this RAV4 TRD, and they did put some off-road goodies on, like more rugged tires. They did the suspension. It's not lifted, but it's an off-road suspension. And it does have torque vectoring all-wheel drive, which is kind of nice. But it doesn't have any kind of low range or anything like that. Hill descent control and downhill assist, whatever that means. But I'm just kind of bringing it to your attention because, again, Jeep's under fire, but no one's really going to that extreme of Jeep. Like my Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk has low range four-wheel drive. It also has a locking rear differential. I mean, those pieces you're not going to find other than Jeep. So they can try all they want to make it rugged looking, to make it, have some off-road features, but it's never going to get to that level of Jeep. So CarGuy11 gives it a thumbs down. Zach says downhill descent limits speed to prevent runaway. Okay, yes. I think I mean my Jeep does have that too, but I don't know why they named two things. They said downhill. They said downhill. Where was that? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I don't see it now. Oh, hill start assist. Okay, and then downhill assist control. So, okay, it is two different things. I thought it was the same thing at first, but yeah, mine does have that. It's like mine has basically an off-road cruise control. You could set the speed and it just goes very slowly in like 0.1 mile per hour increments. And then it does have the downhill control as well. Hey, Matt Rosenthal joined. And hey, Matt, you're a little late this time, but yeah, it was not the regular Wednesday, so I'll give you a pass. But anyway, that's pretty much the only ones I picked out to talk about. But if you want to talk about any others, feel free to bring them up. But otherwise, probably end it here. Again, nothing too exciting at Chicago. It's more of a trim show. There were different trim levels offered in many vehicles, and I didn't really show those. The Ram I didn't show, but they did offer a new tailgate for the light duty Ram, and then they showed again those heavy duty versions. So but yeah, I think the Ram is, in my opinion, not being a truck person at all, I enjoy. I think the Ram is the pickup I would go with if I had to get a pickup. Tom Gear says, yeah, we were there last year. Yep, the last 2 years, actually. We didn't go this year because of the Detroit Auto Show. I went to the Detroit Auto Show just last month. Import Domestic said, what do you think of the new Trailblazer? Well, he's talking about the Blazer. Actually, I saw one this week at my local Chevy dealer, and I took one for a ride. I think it looks decent. It looks pretty nice. I think it looks decent. I took it for a drive. I think it drives nice. I think it is decently powerful. I would say it has the naturally aspirated V6, which is nice. It's maybe a little faster than my Jeep with the V6, but the main thing, I think it's nice. I think it's a good looking crossover. It's not the most roomy. The rear area hatch area is smaller than my Jeep actually. But here's the kicker. The one I drove was $51,000. That's my problem with it. It's way overpriced. And I told the salesperson, I was like, good luck. I mean, you're not going to sell the Chevy for $51,000. I mean, I think you get the larger Tahoe and the Traverse for not much more or less. I think the Traverse for sure. So I do like the styling. I like it, drove real nice, but not the price. No way. No way I would spend that much on that car. So I'm keeping the Jeep. Yeah, I know you guys are going crazy because I was just as shocked as you were when I saw that sticker. I mean, this was the fully loaded RS, which that's the only way I would get it. And they had the blacked out trim, the black wheels, 21-inch wheels, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts, and I don't know how they're going to sell that for that much unless they start heavily incentives on it, because there were none. And the lady's like, "Oh, you really like it? Then you want it." I'm like, no, I don't. Not for that price. I was like, it's way out of price. So Martin says, is it for the SS version? It's called the RS, and it's like I said, it's more appearance than power. It doesn't gives you all the four-wheel drives are a V6. So it's 310 horsepower V6, but it's the normal 3.6 that's in everything. High revving. It's a 9-speed auto. The 9-speed auto is better. It's a GM 9-speed auto. It's better than the one in my Jeep. The ZF one is not good. How much is the S? Martin says, how much is the SS going to be then, and is it going to have a V8? I didn't really hear anything on the SS, but Tom Gear mentioned the SS. What I would assume, if they do come out with one, that the SS will be a turbo V6. I think Cadillac has that turbo version. I just can't imagine they're going to do it, especially, yeah, for the price. It'll be 60 grand. Autonuts with us. He did a video on the Blazer. He did get to go to the Chicago Auto Show because he lives in Chicago. So import domestic says, talk about GM hitting the flop again. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with GM. They're laying off. They're cutting. I think they said 4,000 white collar. I mean, it's really upsetting because they were doing very well, I thought. Now they're coming up they're trying to do all these SUVs and they're not doing them very well. Now I think the Blazer's good, but just not at that price. The Cadillac ones are severely overpriced too, but they are Cadillacs. They're like in the 50s. And the one they just debuted in Detroit, this XT6, the largest one, is just really a rebadged version of the Traverse and the large SUVs, front wheel drive based. It has the Cadillac styling. That's about it. So I don't know. They're kind of losing their way, I think. I'd rather them have less vehicles done well than just try to cover every portion of the market. Autonet says, yeah, he went thanks to CarGuy11. Yes, I didn't go, but I got him in with the passes. So import domestic, they need to start firing managers up on top there making decisions. The ones that are being overpaid. Yeah. I mean, that's a shame because they were really focused on performance. Let's hope the C8 doesn't suffer for this, but I think most of the C8 was designed years ago. I know they're they're tweaking it, but I think the basic design was designed years ago. And I did. You guys watch Autoline Network? Ed Wellborn was on there. He was the former VP of design at GM. Very interesting guy, very cool, and he worked on that project. So that was a few years ago, yeah, it's been mostly designed years ago. So let's see what happens here with C8. Still hoping C8 is great. But anyway, Martin says, look how they screwed up Chevy SS. They totally screwed the pooch on that one. Yeah, the styling they messed up, but that was a lot of Australian design. And they never gave us the really sported up versions. They gave us a chrome version. So hopefully they I don't know. They should have given us one of the HSVs or the blacked out trim versions, but I'm not sure why they didn't do that. I don't know if they didn't want it competing with other things in the market. I know they wanted it to be a small volume car, so yeah, Bob Lutz. Zach says, bring back Bob Lutz. Yeah, he was great. He was great. Unfortunately, he's getting very old now, so he's no longer in position to be working. But anyway, yep. Martin says, yep, should have brought the more aggressive Holden. Agreed. All right, well, I think I'm going to end things here. It's almost an hour. But anyway, if you're watching this back, definitely comment below what you think. And there'll be more of these. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do this next Wednesday, but stay tuned and please put on notifications so you know when I'm doing these. And also follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll post what I'm doing. But just kind of waiting and seeing what kind of news we have to talk about. Next weekend is the Pittsburgh Auto Show, which I might try to live stream actually from the show. So I'm going to see how that goes. Yeah, so all right, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and definitely leave your comments, gives it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.